Have you ever wondered what really happens after a cybercrime? How do investigators actually pull secrets from a silent, powered-down machine? Well, today we're going to become digital detectives. We're about to crack open a real case file, so let's dive in.
So, our story kicks off with a classic mystery: an abandoned laptop, a wireless antenna, and a strong suspicion that it was used for something illegal. But look, this isn't just a piece of old hardware. This is a digital crime scene. And all the clues? They're locked away inside that data.
And here is the core challenge. Investigators have to connect this physical device to a specific person, a hacker who calls himself Mr. Evil. The whole point is to prove that he was the one behind the keyboard. So where do you even begin with something like that? Well, just like any detective, you start with your toolkit. But in this world, we're not talking about magnifying glasses or fingerprint dust. No, we're talking about incredibly powerful software suites that are built for one thing: digital forensics. The cornerstone of this whole toolkit is something called a forensic software distribution. Now, you can think of it like a complete detective's office, but it's all on a single disk. It's a special system that's packed with every tool an investigator could possibly need to collect, analyze, and, most importantly, preserve digital evidence without changing a single bit of data. And there's a whole universe of these things out there. A lot of them are open source and built on Linux. You've got tools like Sans Sift, which is really popular for its huge set of features, and then there's Deft Linux, which is known for being a bit more user-friendly. Each one offers a slightly different menu of programs for the job. Now, for this particular case, the investigation uses tools that kind of fall into two main camps. On one side, you have the open source powerhouse, Autopsy, which is basically a nice graphical interface for another tool called the Sleuth Kit. And on the other side, you've got the commercial giant, Encase, which is the go-to for a lot of law enforcement agencies. We're going to see both in action. Okay, so now that we've seen the tools, let's talk about the process. A digital investigation is, well, it's incredibly methodical. You can't just fire up the software and start clicking around hoping to find something. Nope. You have to build a solid foundation first, just like building a house. And the very first thing you do, before any real analysis even starts, is create the case file. This is the official record. It's the container that's going to hold every single piece of information, every clue. You have to remember, in digital forensics, process and meticulous record keeping, that's everything. In fact, pretty much every investigation you'll ever see follows these four key phases. First, you set up your tools. Then, you create that official case file we just talked about. Then, you can dive into the analysis. And finally, you compile everything you found into a formal report. It's the roadmap that takes you all the way from the crime scene to the courtroom. And this right here is exactly what that first step looks like. What you're seeing is the new case screen in Autopsy. The investigator has to put in a case name, you see it's chart 1, a case number, and their own name. Every single action is documented right from the beginning. It's all about creating a clear and unbroken chain of custody. Okay, so the case file is ready to go. Now, the single most critical piece of evidence gets added: the disk image. This is a bit-for-bit perfect copy of the original hard drive. And this is so important. Investigators never work on the original evidence. Why? Because even just turning on a computer can change thousands of files and timestamps. So they work on this exact clone to make sure the original evidence stays perfectly preserved. All right, the case is built, the evidence is loaded, and now the real hunt begins. This is the analysis phase. This is where the digital detective has to sift through maybe terabytes of data, all just to find that one clue that's going to break the case wide open. But just think about that for a second. A single hard drive can have millions of files. Emails, photos, system logs, web history, even deleted stuff. I mean, where would you even begin? How on earth do you find that one crucial piece of evidence, that digital smoking gun, in a massive haystack of data? Well, this is where the raw power of forensic software really shines. Investigators can run all these automated processes to recover deleted files, search the entire drive for specific words, identify files that someone tried to hide by changing the extension, and pull out all of the internet history. For instance, a simple keyword search for Mr. Evil could instantly light up like a Christmas tree. And in this case, the first huge breakthrough comes from just a simple look at the system settings. Tucked away in the Documents and Settings folder is a user account. And what's its name? Mr. Evil. So, boom. Right there, we've directly linked the hacker's alias to the physical machine. Now this is the real aha moment. The investigator runs a keyword search, but this time for the suspect's actual name, Greg Shard. And you see it right there. The results pop up, showing his name in the installation logs for a piece of hacking software found right on that laptop. This is it. This is the smoking gun. So let's just quickly recap the two biggest pieces of evidence. First, we've got a user profile named after the suspect's alias, Mr. Evil. And second, we have keyword hits that connect his real name, Shart, directly to incriminating software on that very same device. At this point, the connection is becoming pretty much undeniable. So with these critical clues in hand, the investigation moves into its final phase. See, it's not enough to just find the evidence. You have to be able to present it in a way that's clear, that's verifiable, and that's going to hold up in court. And that's exactly what the final report is for. It's the official story of the investigation. It details every method used, every piece of evidence uncovered, and the final conclusions. This is the document that transforms all that raw data into courtroom-ready evidence, a story that a judge and jury can actually understand.
And here's a look at how they do it. As the investigators find important files, like that log file with Shart's name in it, they bookmark them right inside the software. You can actually see the bookmarks here from Mr. Evil and a few other key files. These tags are then used to automatically generate a clean, organized, and professional report.
Yeah, this quote from the source material really sums it all up perfectly. The whole process is objective-driven. As soon as you've collected enough evidence to prove that link between the computer and the suspect, the analysis phase is over and it's time to start reporting. So really, when you strip it all down, digital forensics is all about storytelling. It's this amazing mix of art and science, of listening to the digital ghosts on a machine and piecing together a narrative of what happened, who did it, and when they did it. And that leaves us with a really fascinating and kind of tricky question to think about. I mean, our phones, our laptops, our smartwatches, they're all potential witnesses, silently recording the stories of our lives. In a world like that, where do you draw the line between a necessary clue for an investigation and someone's private thoughts? It's a huge challenge that these digital detectives have to deal with every single day.